Winter is coming. Previously, I was spending up to $4.50 per month on gas just for heating. Additionally, there are electric radiators to help heat up some bedrooms at nights, so that's another $100 per month in electricity. Paying $5.50 at least to heat up a 2,500 square feet house, keeping it at 70 degrees is just plain nuts. That's a lot of money. Here's my ancient furnace. I think that's what it's called. It heats up the water and then the hot water goes out to the various radiators in the house. I don't think I can make it more energy efficient without spending at least $3,000. Today, I'm going to show you how to save a lot of money on heating. The trick is installing window inserts that you can use again and again, year over year. When the warmer weather comes around, you can remove the window inserts, store them, and reuse them when winter comes back. There are other names for it, like indoor storm windows, but the concept is exactly the same. You basically add another layer of windows onto your existing windows. Here's a really rough diagram of existing windows in my house. Most of them are double pane, as you can see here. In the middle, there is air because air is really good for insulation. Some of the windows are really old, so it's just one layer, and that's really, really bad. Absolutely no layer of air insulation whatsoever. So these areas are really cold. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to add 2 additional panes to it, making your room super nice and cozy. My DIY method of doing window inserts will add an additional layer here and here. In the olden days, you can buy these window insulating kits that tapes up your window with cheap flimsy film. Worse, when you remove the film in the warmer months, you're left with nasty tape residue. In this video, I will focus on 3 window insert methods. The last method is completely DIY and saves a lot of money. Let's start with the most expensive but easiest one, ordering online. There are many websites for that, and here's one of the popular ones, I think. I'm not affiliated with this site in any way, but it's good for you to see how easy it is. Click on the order button. If you're ordering a lot of window inserts, give each a name. Let's give this one bedroom. On the right hand side, you can see the instruction on how to measure your windows to make sure that it fits. Choose your width. I'm going to choose some of my windows in the bedroom is 30 and the height is 60. Be sure to choose the fraction as well if there are any. This is just a quick example, so I'm just going to choose 00. If your window is at 60 or more, I highly recommend that you choose the middle bar right here. This adds more structural support. Choose the color and then the quantity and then add to cart. Since I have 4 windows in this bedroom about the same size, the quantity will be 4. Looking at 4 windows, the total is about $348 with $75 in shipping to Pennsylvania. We haven't even looked at the taxes yet, so the average for one window is about $105 per window without taxes. You can do so much better making these yourself for about $30. Your DIY window inserts will be even better because they are double layers. Remember, the more layers of air you have, the better the insulation. The second method is semi-DIY. Find local window shops who will be happy to cut acrylic sheets and put them into aluminum frames for you. Once you receive the item, apply a thin layer of foam. The foam is about 1/4 inch thick. Let's do a quick math example, okay? Suppose you measure your window sill to be 30 inches by 60 inches high. Order from the window shop dimensions of 29 5/8 by 59 5/8 inches. So essentially, you are subtracting 3/8 of an inch to accommodate the foam. I got 3 window inserts from Quaker Window in Philadelphia using this method. The total was $302 with taxes, so averaging $120 per normal size window. The only reason you would want something like this is if you're doing it in the living room or office where you want something to look really nice. We are in my home office now, and you cannot tell this is a window insert. This is the foam right here. And below is the pull tab, and I'll explain what that is later on. Here's a smaller size one for about $70. When you get the acrylic insert from the shop, there is a protective cover for it. All you have to do is peel it back. This takes a while and it's kind of annoying. Be sure to install pull tabs so we can pull the insert out as needed. Otherwise, it'll be a nightmare in case there is a fire and you have to jump out the window or something. So here we go. Just lay the tape on top of the panel. Adjust accordingly to make it nice and straight. Flip it over. And wrap the tape onto itself. We're using Gorilla tape, so this is extra heavy duty. Repeat for the other side as well. I only installed tabs on the bottom because once you pull the bottom out, the top will slide down and out thanks to gravity. To seal the edges off, we're going to use this skinny foam with sticky side. I would say this is maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. So you'll be applying it onto the window edges right here. So let's go ahead and pop it out. Split it in half like so and apply it onto the window. Start peeling it a little bit out like so. Don't pour it all the way out. Start near the edge. Just line it up and press it down as you go. Make sure it's all the way over like so. And then snip this part right here off. Here you can see that I already did it on 3 sides, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to do the 4th one next. With the foam applied on all 4 sides, it's time to actually insert our creation into the windowsill. Slowly push the top side in first, gradually work the 2 sides in, and ultimately push up to have all 4 sides in. By the way, the aluminum channels are not crazy glue onto the acrylic sheets. These aluminum channels right here, and of course the top and the bottom. If you try to lift the whole panel with just the channel by holding onto the channel, then this thing right here would slide right off the acrylic sheets. And of course that's exactly what happened when I tried to lift it up. Getting the aluminum channel and the gasket back into the acrylic sheet is a nightmare. So please try your best not to mess it up. If you happen to mess it up like I did, all you have to do is take the gasket, this gray piece right here, grab it out, apply it onto the acrylic sheet. Finally, grab the aluminum channel, this white piece right here, press it down onto the gasket. The third method is completely DIY. Do it yourself. Each window costs about $38, and you'll keep the house the warmest with not just 1 but 2 additional layers. Here are some bare tools that you'll definitely need. Drills. Ideally, you'll want 3 so that you don't have to switch back and forth changing the drill bits. And you'll see later on why as we do a real example. Drill bits to make pilot holes. Phillips bit to drive the screws in. A sander to smooth out all of your cut edges. You can use plain sandpaper too, but I prefer using this multi-tool from Milwaukee. A miter saw to cut the pine wood. Countersink bit to make the screws flush. Finally, an X-Acto knife and scissors to trim off excess window film. If you plan to paint your trims like I do, then you'll definitely need some paints and a roller. Optionally, it would be nice to have a square tool. It ensures all your corners are perfectly 90 degrees. Since I don't have one and I didn't want to buy one, I use a very thick book and a laptop and a box, since I know they all have square corners. If you're doing all of this by yourself, it would be nice if you have clamps too, to hold the pine pieces down. For materials, you'll need double-sided tape from 3M. This tape is really good and was made for window insulation. 3mm Mylar film, which is actually 0.003 inches thick and not 3mm thick as I thought. It is 50 feet long. You'll use a lot of this if you plan to install on both sides as I did. Polyfoam that's 3/4 wide and 1/2 inch thick and 17 feet long. For some reason, the manufacturer, the company that we ordered from on Amazon, limit us to 3 rolls per order. I have no idea why, but it is what it is. Gorilla Tape is needed to install the pull tabs. I forgot to take a picture of it, but this is what it looks like. And finally, 3-inch screw. I was using these drywall screws, and then later on I ran out of it, and then I used deck screws. I think any screws is fine as long as it's 3 inches, at least 3 inches long. First, measure all your windows as seen in method 1. Here are all my measured windows in the house. Since we're using thicker 1/2 inch foam for this third method, we have to subtract 3/4 of an inch from the height and the length of the window to accommodate the 1/2 inch foam. I love using this thick foam because it is very forgiving. Your window might not be perfectly square, or even your DIY window insert might not be square. The thick foam will fit airtight into your windowsill no matter what. Before we actually cut anything though, let me give you a preview of what we're about to build. For simplicity's sake, all of the cuts are square. No 45-degree cuts at the corners. You got the long sides in red and short in green. If your windows are 60 inches or higher, I highly recommend making the support piece as seen here in blue. The orange are 3-inch screws. You can use 2 screws per corner, but here you can see I cheat a little bit to save time and screws. I find using 6 screws per small window is more than good enough. Let's review some math while we're looking at this diagram. If your windowsill length is 30 inches, minus 3/4 inch to accommodate the foam. But you won't be cutting 29¼ inches using the miter saw. No, that's because this green piece that you'll be cutting is 26¼ inches. Why? Because from here to here is 1½ inches, and this other side right here is also 1.5 inches. So that's 1.5 plus 26¼ plus 1.5 will actually give you the length that you actually want, which is 29¼ It's best that you measure all your windows in one shot so you can cut all the pieces at the same time. This website is really useful too. Enter all of your cuts and it will tell you how many sticks of wood you have to buy. It maximizes your cuts per stick so you waste less wood. Simply amazing. So we know that the 8 foot is about 96 inches. Enter 96 inches here. You can leave quantity blank. It will calculate the number of pieces that you have to buy. Start entering the length that you'll need and the quantity. Give it a name. To add more rows, just click on Add and start entering more dimensions. So here's one of my window, and of course I have 2 sides of it, and I have 2 heights of it as well. Once you're all done with your dimensions, go ahead and click on Calculate. And here's the results. For this first cut right here, we're going to use 1 stick of it, and it will give you 3 cuts. This second layout, you'll need 2 sticks of it, and each cut will give you 2 pieces, with the leftover here. You can get these 1x2 inches wood pine from Home Depot or Lowe's. 8 foot will cost about $9 after taxes. There are cheaper wood like white and poplar, but these are much softer and might not be as durable. If money is no object, go for oak, but I find pine is more than good enough for our purpose. Lay them on the floor to verify they are all straight. Flip them on the side again and verify they are straight. In this photo, you can clearly see one is way out of shape, so definitely don't take the crooked ones. Here are some of my pieces. You can tell they're all straight as can be. This is the result after painting them using the roller as suggested earlier. Since I don't have a work table, I'm just going to use my dinner table from IKEA. Assemble the frame as you saw in the diagram earlier. Use a square tool or really thick book to help form the 90 degrees corner. A box from Amazon worked just as well. Hold a piece in place and drill. Next, use the countersink bit to make an indentation. Finally, drill a screw or two in. Now, the screws sit flush up against the side. Without the countersink, the screw will stick out like a sore thumb, and you definitely don't want that. This frame is actually very long, about 90 inches. So I'm going to add a middle bar in for additional support. Same as before, pilot hole, countersink, and secure with a 3 inches screw. Later on, I found out it's just so much faster to do pilot and countersink some of the pieces in batch. By the way, this is what happens when you are not using a flat surface and unsquare corners. If your frame looks anything like this, it is useless and has to be scrapped. Well, save some of the pieces for smaller windows if you can. But for this window frame, it's totally useless. Here at one corner, you can see that it lifts up about 2 inches. That's not good. Installing pull tabs is relatively easy. Cut about 8 inches of Gorilla Tape. Wrap it around the frame. Leave about 1 inch of it left and then cut off the excess. We need this 1 inch of tape to pull the window insert out as needed. Without the pull tab, it will be extremely challenging to remove the window insert. I find 2 pull tabs at the bottom of the frame is more than good enough. Once the bottom of the frame is pulled out from the windowsill, the whole thing will fall out. You can even get away with just 1 pull tab per window. Next, apply the double-sided tape. Before applying the tape, make sure that the frame itself is free of any debris or dirt. To remove the protective back, score a thin line and gently peel it back. It can be challenging. Use the blade, the X-Acto knife, to help with lifting the paper back. With the adhesive tape fully exposed, it's time to apply the film. This is actually the most trickiest part. We find laying the film flat on a surface first is the best method. Then gently lower your frame down and it will stick onto the film beneath. We try other methods of applying the film, but none of them works as good as this method of laying the film down on the floor. The other methods we try yielded wrinkles. I'm not sure you can see it here, but that's definitely not good as the air can move in and out. Also, it looks hideous. To fix the wrinkle, you can start over, but I find using shipping tape is just as good to seal all the gaps. Allow me to explain using this 3D drawing. So here's the red part, which is the pine. Here's the dark pink, which is the window film that you apply onto the pine. You got one side on the front and the second film in the other side. If you have wrinkles all on this pine right here with the window film on this side, just cut yourself some shipping tape or use the Gorilla Tape, which is way too much more expensive. I find shipping tape for this purpose is good enough. Cut yourself some shipping tape and wrap it from this side right here over the pine and then down onto the film on the other side. Using tape like so will make sure that all of the wrinkles that's right here will be sealed up, not allowing any air to go back and forth. While the film is still on the floor, use X-Acto knife to cut off any excess film. I place a metal ruler below the film, that way I would not damage the floor underneath. So at this point you're pretty much done with one side and you can stop, but I'm going to go for 2 layers of film for even more protection. So just repeat the process for applying the second layer. I don't know if you noticed, but for some reason I forgot to install the pull tabs for this mini window. It's okay, it's never too late. Just lay the Gorilla Tape on the floor and place the window insert down. Then wrap the tape onto itself. The final step is to apply the foam tape onto the side of our creation. The tape is 3/4 of an inch wide and it fits perfectly onto the side of our frame, which is also 3/4 of an inch. Cover all of the edges. Cut the foam on each side. Don't try to wrap the whole frame with one single continuous piece. Here's our creation one more time before we put it into place. We got the pull tabs right here just in case we ever need it out in the warmer months. This pocket above our door is just one single layer of glass. Adding a window insert really helps. Slowly back the frame into position and you are set. If you ever need to get it out, remember to use the pull tabs and yank it straight out. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to use your bare hands to pull out. I'm happy to say that our house is a lot warmer now. There are no cold drafts whatsoever. One of our bedrooms has this giant sliding glass door. It was crazy cold in the winter. The thick curtains seen here did not help at all. With the window inserts installed, I can leave the curtains open all the time to get lights in and not feel any cold air getting in. I didn't bother painting the pine white this time. I think it looks pretty good. The window inserts were divided into 3 separate sections. Nothing is really holding them in position. The foam strips that you see in black borders right here, on this side, and down the bottom, does a really good job of holding everything into place. Let's go into the kids' room with the bay window. Same story. Gorgeous view outside, but absolute nightmare to keep warm in the winter. The middle piece is divided into 2 pieces. So you can see the joining piece right here. You might be curious, what does it look like with thermal vision? This is the window insert already installed for one of my bedroom. I would say it's an average size of about 29¼ by 48¾ inches. The lowest temp is at 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we're going to remove the window insert thanks to the help of my son. Now the lowest is at 62 degrees. Outside it's about 35 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. Almost a 10 degrees difference with and without window inserts. That's just insane, and that explains why I'm paying $500 per month for heating. Ultimately though, was it worth it? And I think so. The grand total was $879. Pine wood was the costliest at $410. It was sourced from both Home Depot and Lowe's because it was very challenging to find straight wood from a single store. I actually went to at least 3 stores at different times. The next expensive item was Mylar film at $244. I bet we could save some money by buying everything all together at once. What happened was that we took care of the first floor first and then realized this DIY method actually worked. So then we ramped up production to do the second and third floor next. Each window took about 1 hour. So maybe 24 hours total was spent in labor with one person doing 23 windows. The bottom line is that it costs around $39 per window, just because these window inserts are massive. Looking at my sheet, the length or height can go all the way up to 97 inches. Alright, hopefully you found this video on how to keep your house warm and cozy helpful. I really appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and thanks for watching.